And as
Are we
Tim would
live?
say, are we live? Welcome everyone to the Tim and Jim show. I know that you noticed that Tim is not here today. In all seriousness, Tim's been having a struggle with some migraine headaches, and wishing him the best. It's really been tough for him to get going. So I want to thank my friend and Tim's friend, Chris Stone, who, if you didn't know, produced that video for us that we opened the show with. Um, and joining us today with a friend of both me and Chris, Christina Nietzsche, who we've gotten to know through Amazon Live, where we've got a great community over there, and really excited about the subject today, which is health and fitness and the importance to your business. So, Jim Fuse Fusion Marketing here in Marietta, Georgia, in my basement after surviving 2 days of live streaming on Amazon, all hours of the day, having a great time with my friend Chris. And so, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself today.
My name is Chris Stone. I'm with Cast Ahead at castahead.net, and I am honored to fill the enormous shoes that I can't. I mean, my feet are this small in the shoes of Tim Stone. So honored, Jim and Christina, to join you two today, and I'll do my best. As your co-pilot, Jim, I'll do my best. Just keep one hand on the wheel. While I keep both of mine on there at 10 and 2. I'm gonna do my best, but honored to be here. And again, Tim, thank you, and thoughts, prayers, and get well soon.
Yeah. And so, Christina, you are you're a health guru, fitness guru, nutrition guru, in my opinion. I know you may not like being said that, but tell us about yourself and tell us about your journey to this, because you didn't, like, we even talked about this before over on Dealcasters. You didn't start at, like, you weren't like this high school athlete superstar going to college. Like, you're someone that got into this a little bit later in life, and from what I see now, you're crushing it.
Yeah, it's crazy because like everybody thinks that I was some sort of athlete in school or I played sports. I didn't do any type of sports, didn't play any sports, didn't even get into any extracurricular activities with anything fitness related. And I really didn't have any guidance growing up as far as in like health and fitness and stuff like that too. I think one of the things initially that got me into kind of like getting into even just like a healthier mindset in general, I was actually bullied in school early on. And so I had like a negative mindset. And so I was looking for like something, anything just to kind of like change that. And so I think I probably started looking to like just eating healthier in general and just kind of like started from there. And then like later on in my early adult life, I joined a gym. I was basically, I had a horrible job. And so it caused a lot, even more like negativity and stuff like that. So I started working out in hopes that it would kind of like just take the edge off of like all of the frustration. And so it was amazing. I was able to change not only my body, but my mindset was like the hugest thing that was changed. So I had like positivity. And so I got to the point where I just wanted to share everything that I had learned with everybody. So I got my certification from NASM and really just kind of like focused on the knowledge portion of all of that. And so from there, everything kind of just took off and I became really passionate even more and started training people. So but initially, no, it was crazy. I had no experience whatsoever. I had to basically teach myself everything.
Wow. And what does NASM stand for? I've heard that before, but not sure what that acronym is. You
Oh my gosh, you're picking my brain here. National Association of Science, and oh my gosh, you know what? It's really bad. I don't honestly even remember at this point. Oh my gosh.
Mechanics?
No. National. Oh my gosh. Why? Hold on a second. Now I feel like really.
Maybe all of our brains are fried from Prime Day.
I'm honestly like so tired. Oh my gosh. I'm so tired.
We need to send you a
Yes.
10-yard coffee mug.
Yeah, I need something. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm like totally at a loss right now, to be honest with you.
Anyway, we know it's a big certification thing to do with fitness and
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
ready. So, yeah. So
I
so
love
I
I
mean,
love the story how you were early on, you were bullied, and you completely focused on something and used that to turn things around. Do you know
Hmm.
what was the pivot, like what caused you, like, the bullying sent you into the, like, what was the pivot? What was the thing that sent you in that direction? You were like, did you focus on how you were bullied and that drove you, or like, I'm just curious how, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that know someone that he maybe currently is bullied, or themselves, or they have a history of that, and they're like, well, you know what? Maybe I
Yeah.
can use fitness to do that. So how do they get from like, what's in the middle there, from your past story to where you're at now, and what caused that pivot for you?
Pretty much like you want to know like you think why I was bullied or why I was maybe targeted.
Not
Um,
necessarily, but because you were bullied, maybe,
mhm,
or when you were bullied, you
mhm.
turned it into something positive for yourself. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people, unfortunately, go into different directions. And what do you think caused you to go into this more positive direction?
Yeah, I want to say I've always had like this mentality of wanting to be better, even like through all of the negativity. I just have a natural, um, I'm kind of like self-motivated. I'm very much into like improving upon myself and thinking that there's something better out there. There's a bigger purpose. There's a better purpose. Um, and so for me, I knew that I could be better. I knew that I could change things. It was just a matter of me finding like what worked for me. And so, I think I was naturally drawn to just kind of like improving myself. And I knew that, I saw all these people, and stuff like that. I saw a lot of people, even though I wasn't involved in sports in school, I saw what these people were doing and I saw like the positive effects. And so, I knew that there was something to it and I wanted to become part of that. I knew that I could be better and that I could improve my mindset just by kind of making changes and maybe even getting out of my comfort zone. So I think that's pretty much I've always had like that mentality of just wanting to become better. So I think really just boils down to that. But in answer to your question, oh my gosh, I'm literally, guys, I just want to apologize. I'm so tired. I've been live streaming nonstop. But National Academy of Sports Medicine is the
Wow.
answer to the first question. So please forgive me. I'm like zombie Christina today. So
you're doing fine. Don't worry about it. No more trick questions. So hopefully, we'll get started with the
uh,
questions, and these I think loving the comments from everybody that's watching. It's definitely a topic that's resonating with the business owners. So, Christina, the first question is, how should a business owner set aside time for fitness? Because it seems like we're always so wrapped up in, I got to do this and I got to do that, and we forget some of these things.
Yeah, it all boils down to, we hear it all the time. What is most important to you? You make time for what is important to you. And I know a lot of us have like really crazy schedules. I get it. And I'm blessed right now to be able to work from home. And so it's easy for me to say, hey, just make some time. Um, but I used to work a 9 to 5 job too, and I was working on weekends as well. I was working longer than that. And so I made a point to get up early, and I was lifting weights and going to the gym at 4 in the morning. I was making it happen because that was my priority. And so I made a lot of sacrifices. It boils down to making sacrifices. Um, setting aside a time that you would normally maybe just sit down for half an hour and drink your coffee, kind of speed things up. Get up just that, even if you can just fit cardio in the morning time, get up a half hour early. I think if we were all honest and we looked at our schedules, everybody for the most part has time. I mean, I have a friend who is a single mother. She works a full-time job. She also trains clients on the sides, and she's got 3 kids. She does everything on her own. And so I always go back to these people, because if she has time to do it, then I think everybody, if we just really kind of, time management is another thing. I think a lot of us are guilty. I know I have been. Time management wasn't always kind of like my strong point. So I really think it just boils down to really kind of looking at your schedule, making some sacrifices, and then going from there.
Yeah, I think that that's the thing, right? And some of the comments too, right? It's about you've got to want to do it. I think too, and I
Hmm.
sometimes go back to something Tony Robbins says, that I've read him several times, and I think he's a great motivator. But it's like, until the pain that you're suffering is more than the pain of change, you're not going to do it. And so
Hmm.
for some people, it takes a long time to get to that point. It's like, people's like, oh, I can't lose weight. Well, it's obviously not bothering you enough to make that change. I love your
Yeah.
mindset of, I know I can do better. I feel like there's a bigger, better thing for me out there. So I'm going to work at it. Because to Chris's point earlier,
Hmm.
it's very easy to get caught into that. And so I think, just like, anything else, like, if I've learned anything over the past, I guess, what we're going on now, 15, 16 months since the pandemic started, as an example, is use your calendar, right? Schedule that time and make it just like an appointment with a client. Like, from this time to this time is workout time, and you know, don't make exceptions, right? It's easy to say, "Oh, well, I'll just cancel my workout and have this meeting with Chris." So I think that's something that, I don't know if that's what you do, if you actually put it in your calendar, but I think as a business owner, that I think would be extremely important.
Yeah, definitely. I have like, I'm an app person, so I definitely, like I use Notes. I don't know if anybody else has Apple, but I love Apple Notes because I pretty much have everything. I use the reminders, all of that stuff, just to make little notes and just to like kind of keep myself even more motivated and focused. But yeah, I mean, I also have a whiteboard on my refrigerator and also in my garage gym, where I will write, like, either sometimes I'll do like weekly stuff, or sometimes I will do like my daily stuff. So just kind of like things that are most important are at the top of the list, and then I have like a thing where I just check them off, and it helps me to stay focused, and to also kind of like, if I forget things, if I'm having a tired day like I'm having today, I can always look back at that. So
Right.
Yeah, I think it's about being intentional and going, okay, if I'm going to want to be more healthy in general, and that's your goal, have a little more specific goal. Set, like you said, get up 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however many, early, and just be intentional. And I think a lot of times people, maybe it's because they're being fed these algorithms that say, lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, or take this pill, and you can buy over at GNC, and it's going to revolution, and they can snap their fingers, and all of a sudden they're going to look like Christina Nietzsche. But it's not and certainly the longer you're out of the longer you're in a more unhealthy lifestyle, the longer it's going to take to get out of it. So know that you've got to take those small steps initially, and then just continue down the path, continue to be intentional. The payoff may be a little while longer than you hope. It probably will be, but you got to stay on that path. And then the payoff, is you'll look like Jim Fuse and have those abs that he's got under that Fusion Marketing shirt.
Shirt's not coming off today, guys. Shirt's not coming off. Um,
I tried.
I know. So Chris, would you like to take us into question number 2?
Oh, Jim, I'd be honored. So, question number 2, with the bicep emoji here. What are some tips to get on a nutrition pathway to health?
yeah, so I definitely like nutrition, and I've said this before. I think I've talked about this with you guys before. People think that like nutrition is like 70%. I consider it more like 90%. So it's definitely extremely important. You can't out exercise a bad diet. So, I would start, if you're someone that is like used to eating really unhealthy, I always say do things gradually if you're someone that gets overwhelmed. So in other words, take like your breakfast and start to work on that and make that a little healthier. Um, just like be consistent with that. And then where you basically work your way towards those other meals. So lunch, dinner, snacks, things like that. Planning is definitely a must. I mean, I think we've all been there where we're super hungry and we have no time and we pretty much grab anything, a bag of chips. That's when like our weaknesses come in and our cravings and stuff like that. So being prepared is definitely key. And I mean, it all boils down to like that time, making time, making sacrifices. So, maybe let's say Sunday is like your only day where you have some time. You can still, there's many things that you can do. You can still spend it with your family, but also set aside a little bit of time, even a half an hour. In a half an hour, you can get so much done. You can get frozen veggies from, like Costco and stuff like that. Throw them in the oven, throw some protein, some fish, some chicken, whatever in the oven, along with the veggies, and, get some healthy carbs and stuff like that. It could come from lots of vegetables, potatoes, things like that, and make it simple, but definitely preparation is key. Plan things ahead. I use a food scale. I think that's super important because we tend to overestimate and or I should say, what is the word? Maybe underestimate the calories, and we're really getting more. So I think, by weighing it, it really kind of puts things into perspective. I know for me, I tend to I can't eyeball something. Like, I mean, I guess in a sense, maybe now I'm a little bit better, but I think for the most part, if we really want to be accurate and we really want to be successful, weighing food is definitely good. Even going to MyFitnessPal and tracking your calories, even if it's just for like a week, just to see where you are, that's always a good starting point. So tracking, preparation, all of that stuff.
Yeah, they always get you with the nutrition facts and the serving size, right? So you look on the back of something and you go, oh, this is only 210 calories, and the serving size is like, a third of a cup, and you're like, oh, that's like this much.
But I wanted the whole bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Christina, we've talked about this before, and I think this is another thing that people don't understand. Like you talk about, it's this whole thing like, oh, you should only eat 3 times a day. You
Mhm,
actually eat throughout the day, even at night.
mhm,
Like it's not like,
mhm.
oh, don't eat after 7 o'clock or you'll turn into a gremlin, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, that's like this huge myth, and a lot of people think that for some reason our bodies mysteriously stop burning calories at like 7 p.m. And it's like this magic number, and our bodies just turn off, and they don't do anything. Yeah, it's not the case at all. Like you're still going to burn calories. And it actually always boils down to calories in, calories out. So if you are in a calorie surplus, you are going to be eating more than you're burning, and so you're going to gain weight. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're basically burning more than you're eating, you're going to lose weight. So I actually eat late every single night. In fact, the only time that I have to watch TV is when I wind down right before I go to bed. So there are plenty of times where I will sit in bed, I will eat something, and I'll watch TV, and it's like 11:30 at night. And so that right there tells you you're not going to gain weight unless you're in a calorie surplus. So yeah.
You
Yeah.
make it sound so easy. I know that that's part of your gig, but it's true in the sense of if you do track how much your and now with smartwatches and the MyFitnessPal app and all of
Mhm.
those things, you can go, oh, you know what, I worked out, I had this many steps, I went for a walk, or I did these things, and I burned this many calories. And if you are
Mhm.
finding a way to track the calories you're putting in, when you get to 11:30 at night and you're winding down, you can look and go, hey, I'm like 500 calories from, whatever I burned. So you can have a couple of things before you go to bed. And that
Yep.
also spurs the metabolism, and it's going to help you sleep better, probably. As
Oh,
long as you don't,
absolutely.
it doesn't have any caffeine in it, maybe, I guess, or sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
actually, Oh, go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say too, Tim, which along these same lines, wanted to know, do you have any tips to get motivated on the healthy food front? Because like you said, people struggle. I know you talked about the the steps of
Mhm.
so maybe some tips along that line since we're in the nutrition question.
Yeah. So sometimes you're not going to have that motivation. Sometimes, you really do have to push yourself. I mean, everybody struggles. I struggle. I think, also getting your family involved and making it something kind of that everybody can enjoy. Kind of use it as like a learning process. Have fun with it. Don't stress about it. Use this and try out like new foods that you haven't tried before. Make it a fun thing. But like I said, I think the most important thing is not to be overwhelmed. People think that fitness and health is sometimes like an all or nothing thing. And so I think that's a lot of the times people end up failing because they feel like they have to just cold turkey, just quit everything in order to be successful. But even like small changes, so like taking out soda initially,
Hmm. Yes.
or even like lessening it, maybe just kind of like gradually weaning yourself off of soda. You don't have to do it all at once, but you have to realize every little bit of change that you make towards your healthy lifestyle, towards your journey, your fitness journey, is going to matter. So whether that be, just switching out like, some sugar for just maybe like a little bit less, maybe like some honey, instead of using like processed sugar, little things like that, adding some fruit instead of adding sugar, just kind of like gradually making small changes so that you won't become overwhelmed.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what's crazy everybody's body is different, right? So a lot of people
Yes.
look at stuff and they go, "Oh, well, this person did this, this, and this, and this, and if I check those boxes, then I'm going to be able. That's going to happen to me." But everybody's body is different, and I know you would agree to that. But it's like one of the things that I made changes on for my nutrition prior to me, getting into running and doing races and all of that was I felt like I was healthy, right? I weighed, I was
Hmm.
I looked healthy. I had, I weighed the lowest I ever had, but I had acid reflux. I was
Mm.
taking Nexium. I had headaches, and so I did what you just spoke about. I cut my soda out. And I started eating more healthy because I knew that I had to eat cleaner in order to do this race that I was doing. And after about 3 months, I had no more acid reflux. I stopped taking the Nexium, and I remained the same weight. I probably looked the same, but I was 200% healthier. I didn't have
Mhm.
the headaches. I didn't have like so. So I think a lot of times you'll see someone and they're skinny, right? But they may not be healthy. And so
Mhm.
that's the other thing too, and it all plays into mental health and spiritual, and all of those things, are interconnected. And I know maybe we're going off of the questions here, Jim. I know that
No,
maybe
I
I'm
I
not
think
doing my
no, I think
best
this
Tim here.
is I think this is important because I will tell
Mhm.
you, to Christina's point, I quit drinking soda. It's probably been 5 years ago. And, because even people are like, "Oh, I'm drinking diet soda." Well, folks, diet soda is horrible for you. You'd be better off
Mhm.
drinking regular soda. And I know, we got a question from Gail, where she's talking about stevia, and she adds that, to her coffee. That I guess that's maybe better than sugar. But, I think that that's an important like, that's a first step, right? Just instead of drinking soda, drink water. Uh,
Mhm.
Tim wanted to know too, as if you could give maybe some examples of maybe some of those small steps to take, I guess as you're working along the way. And he also asked kind of along the same line is everybody's body's different. And I think to Chris, to your point, because my wife, Karen, has the same issue. um, she has, had acid reflux. Well, what she found was we started to discover it was sometimes from eating like tomato sauce or eating, certain cheeses. And so it doesn't affect me, it affects her. So I think you have to listen to your body. But yeah, Christina, do you have maybe some other examples of what you've seen?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean everybody's different. Some people do better, more like plant-based stuff. And see, that's the important thing to kind of figure out what works well for your body. I think a lot of us, for the most part, lack. There's more people that lack enough protein versus that are getting too much. We hear about that, oh well, too much protein. It's unless you're like a bodybuilder and you're literally taking shakes after shakes after shakes, it's really hard to kind of get too much. And so I would focus on, just nutrient dense foods. I like to look at foods as fuel. Now I still have like a cheat meal once a week or whatever. That's fine, but
Maybe a cookie.
on right, exactly. Maybe a cookie. um, but I do like I like to look at food as fuel. So, for every meal and even snack, I always make sure that I'm getting a healthy source, a healthy unprocessed source of a protein, a fat, and a carb, because those are the three macronutrients that make up calories. So we have to look at that way. We want to eat balanced. So for breakfast, you could do something like oat bran instead of, or even oatmeal. Oat bran is higher in fiber and it's also more filling. It's more nutrient dense, so that's why I prefer that. But oatmeal's fine too. You could add, that's your carbs right there. It's got a little bit of protein. You could add some protein powder, or you can, scramble some eggs on the side with some egg whites. Add in a little bit of fruit. Make sure, if you're using a whole egg, then that whole egg is actually considered part of your fat as well as protein. So you've got pretty much your protein, fat, and carbs right there in one meal. So that's a great example of like a balanced meal. So protein, fats, and carbs. And that's kind of the way you want to look at everything. Unprocessed sources. So whole grains, fruits, veggies, chicken, fish, eggs, even like whey protein powder. Look at something pure that doesn't have like a lot of crazy ingredients, no sugar and stuff like that. So I like to keep things simple and just kind of look at things that way, and it kind of puts things into perspective. And this way it doesn't kind of like overwhelm you.
Right. And we're going to take one more question before we go to a break here from Tim, and that is, what's your take on coffee? And of course, I'm here drinking some
Coffee.
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 Coffee. Yeah, I love coffee. And coffee, like I don't take any pre-workout. I make my own natural pre-workout with no stimulants. I just use natural ingredients, like herbs and stuff like that. But for energy and stuff like that, coffee is great. Yeah, you can overdo it, but unless you're drinking like over 4 cups, it's kind of hard to overdo it. But interesting thing is, I found out, I took a food DNA test, right? And so what they do is they kind of like match your genetic markers and they test you for like intolerances. And I happen to carry the gene for, it's a natural coffee, like you can basically not adapt. What's the word I'm looking for? You handle coffee very well. So you metabolize caffeine and process caffeine very well. But there are some people who do not. And so I would be careful of that. If you drink coffee and you feel like jittery and it's not making you feel good, and you just feel like maybe it's bringing on anxiety and stuff, you probably either having too much or you're not a fast metabolizer for caffeine. But coffee in general, it has antioxidants in it. I do like to get like the organic version, because we have to remember too that there are chemicals and stuff that they spray on these plants. So if you're getting, a nice good coffee bean and you handle caffeine well, as long as you're not overdoing it, then yeah, I mean, coffee's great. I love coffee.
Yeah, my brother always used to say, his nutrition, like he has one rule for nutrition, is if it comes from the earth and nothing else touches it, you're golden, right?
Yeah.
So like if it's an animal, or if it's a plant or a vegetable or any of that, like you're golden. If you read the side and it's got this long of a list of ingredients and chemicals and all of that other stuff, is like he just doesn't want to touch it. It's like the fewer the ingredients, and if it comes from the earth, like you can eat like pretty much. All you want is probably wrong thing to do, but you can eat pretty much as many vegetables as you really want, and you'll be able to
Mhm.
get the nutrition you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think like anybody can say that like I gained all this weight from all these vegetables, you know?
Right. Right.
You're not going to hear anybody say that.
All right. So we'll be back in a moment. We're going to take a quick minute to watch a short clip from our friends at StreamYard. And we're doing the Tim in honor of Tim. It's a little bit of a calorie burn too. It's working my
Oh, I better do it too then.
in the obliques to be able to work in the
Oh,
obliques.
wow. I'm gonna be in a calorie surplus later. Woo!
So our third question, we have a bunch of other questions in the chat though, is and I think this applies to some of the questions people have asked. Um, how can a business encourage health and fitness for its team? And I think it even applies to family because Tim kind of said how it used to be as kids would eat, they'd all eat the same thing. Now it's like
Mhm.
they're picky, and so how do we encourage our team? Because if everybody in the team is happy, I think productivity improves. People feel better, mindset, all that stuff. What are your thoughts on that, Christina?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I think there could be definitely a lot of good changes that companies can make, specifically in like the type of snacks that they offer. Because I feel like, if you're going to be spending money on like donuts and, takeout that you're bringing to all of your employees and stuff like that, you can certainly make some changes and bring some healthier options. Even like the vending machines, start stocking the vending machines with healthier options. That and like another cool thing that companies could do is, for those people that are sitting at their desks for many hours, which is extremely unhealthy, not to get up and move, to have like timers and notifications to get up and move as a reminder on people's computers. Some sort of program could be very easy to implement. That and so basically gyms offer really good discounts to companies because they're signing up in like a large amount of people are signing up. So in fact, there's a lot of good discounts for companies. So I would encourage like companies to get involved with other gyms and stuff like that. Because that's if people have a cheaper option, if they can save a little bit of money, it's just another great avenue. It relieves stress. I mean, as we've talked about before, it just helps it helps with mental clarity. It's so many good benefits to exercise. And then another thing too, I would recommend is there's a lot of companies. In fact, the one that I used to work for, they used to have all these like different. We used to sponsor people, so for a good cause. And so we used to do like marathons and stuff like that. So definitely like, support other people out there, support, do things for a good cause and have certain activities that, like on the weekends or whatever, just like fun things to get everybody moving.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think too, like it's so important like that everybody's on the same page when it comes to
Mhm.
health and fitness. And I think what I would say as a uh, father of now adult children, when I was going through the whole change myself, because even though I may look like I was in shape, it's kind of like Chris's story. I was on blood pressure medication for uh, 11 years, and I got on it after finishing a Marine Corps marathon in under 4 hours. So I was running 6 plus miles a day, but I still ended up with blood pressure issues. Well, now that I discovered 11 years later, it was my diet, right?
Mhm.
It was the masking of what I was putting inside. You look fine on the outside, but you don't know what's going on inside. Well, as I got my kids to understand, like, I got them to stop drinking sodas. When they saw that you enjoy it, they're more likely to do it. or
Mhm.
just don't make it available. And maybe you have to do it a little bit at a time, because I think we allow food to almost become this, you know, I don't know if you want to call it a reward thing, like, oh, if you do good, you get an ice cream. And,
Right.
so we're kind of offering them things that aren't healthy alternatives, like I replaced I know Denise, who's got a great Amazon channel, Artist at Heart Paint Party. She was like, "Oh, I guess I got to cut back on chips and salsa." Well, I replaced chips with cucumbers and celery, and
Nice.
that helps fill you up, and it's a healthy alternative to chips, because a lot of times these chips have, what is it, the hydrogenated oil, which is just
Mhm.
horrible for you. So I mean, I think those are some of the things that I've seen that I think work. What about you, Chris or Christine? I mean, what are some of your thoughts on how, like, even with the family piece, how do we encourage the family to come along for the ride?
Yeah, I mean, I Jim, you know this. I recently did. I went completely plant based for about a year and a half, and then I decided at that point, because I'll test, when it comes to things like this and intermittent fasting, and everybody's body's different, and then what I do is I just sort of determine, okay, I can take these elements of these things and apply it to what I'm doing. I may not necessarily be 100% plant based, but there are certain things that I learned by going through that I'm now applying, even though I do eat some things that are not necessarily plant based. And so while I was going through that, it drove my wife insane, because because she's the one who prepares all of the meals for the family and my two boys and myself, and she's a fantastic cook. And I don't think she made anything that was plant based unless it was a side, right? And so I got more involved. I started to prepare my own meals, and either I was preparing my own meals for myself, and they were eating something else, or I was helping to do that. And now we eat mostly plant based. It just because she's just I kind of you have to involve them, but don't push them. I think surround your community, your family, the people that you're sharing meals with. Don't be a vegan Nazi, and be all, like, and try to force everyone into that. Encourage and get involved, and the payoff is everyone gets healthier. And the other thing I would say too is, like, a lot of people are on the chat I'm seeing here is, well, what about stevia? What about the Zevia colas? What about these other things that are sort of like the healthy replacements for the unhealthy things? And I think myself, I'm speaking for myself, mentally, I'm still doing the same thing. That may be a more healthy option, but I'm not going to drink a 6-pack of Zevia, Dr. Pepper, whatever they call it. I'm still feeding my brain this thing that is a soda. And so for me, I just had to cut the cord. I just had to say no more soda, and not even a fake healthy soda, because that still is in my mind like me using this as a soda. And eventually I'm probably going to go back to a soda, because I just know myself. I'm ADHD, obviously. I have sort of that addictive kind of personality. So I just needed to cut the cord and just go, I'm not drinking soda anymore. And it wasn't easy. I didn't snap my fingers, but I stopped doing it, and then I saw the benefits. And I know if I start drinking Zevia, I may eventually start slamming 2 liters of Coke. So I just don't even go there.
Yeah. Yeah. And to kind of continue on with the stevia, I'm pretty much like the same way as you, Chris. I think, these, even though they're like, we look at them as kind of like not a supplement, but
A
it's
safe
not
alternative.
something. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, organic and 100% natural would be the like green powder, not like the liquid stuff, not the white powder. It would literally be like the ground leaves. But you have to also think this stuff is not meant to be used like mass, like you're not supposed to, it's not something that we should be using as like a lot of, like on everything, or even it should be maybe every once in a while. You look back to like years and years and years ago, people were probably not eating tons and tons of stevia, and not even every day. They were, it was probably something very limited here and there when, they maybe wanted something sweet or whatever. But I think we have to be really careful, even with like the natural, like alternatives, like the sugar-free stuff, because just like diet soda with like Splenda and stuff like that in it, it doesn't actually solve the problem. You still end up craving sweet because it's the taste buds. You're not like really weaning yourself off of it. You're just kind of like trading one thing for another. So I think the important thing is to start weaning yourself off of that need for like the sugar sweet. And then you're not like depending on it as much. So it's really more of like just letting your taste buds adapt, and that, that sweetness, that addiction to like sweet, because it's not just sugar, it's that need for something sweet. I think we gradually need to wean ourselves off of that, so we're not so dependent on, the next best sweetener that's 0 calories or whatever. We looked at things like fruit, and then you'll be craving those things more. The more you really kind of like wean yourself off that and allow yourself to adapt to like the more natural things, your body is going to be craving that stuff more often.
Yeah, and we had a question from Jenny Gold. What do you think about organic versus non-organic veggies and fruit? And we even see that in a lot of things now, right? Like, oh, buy organic.
Mhm.
What's
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
So I mean, there are certain vegetables that we should probably be getting more organic, like the things with the thinner skin. So, strawberries that are clearly being affected by like pesticides and stuff like that.
They're this big. If you see a strawberry that's this big and bright red like a YouTube logo, it's probably got something going on there.
Right. But like, things like bananas and stuff like that, they're, I mean, I look at it this way too. It's the soil is going to be affected. So even when the plant is growing, yes, it's going to affect it. But I mean, I understand some people like are looking more for like a budget, and it's kind of hard to get everything organic. But I would focus on the things that are more affected, that have like the thinner skin. So your strawberries, like the lettuce leaves, things like that, things that could be directly have more pesticide on it. So if you can't do everything, I mean, I definitely think every little thing matters, and GMOs, genetically modified organisms, all of that stuff. I mean, that's a whole other subject, but I actually did a paper on that in school, and they compared the plant of a corn to like the corn plant, the actual flowering portion of it, GMO versus non-GMO, and the flower was actually completely different on the GMO plant. So, it's definitely altered. So we have to be a little careful with that. That's a whole other subject, but all that stuff matters. You want to get as pure as possible.
I'm sure you saw the movie, like many of us did, which it's a movie, so they wanted you to watch it. Food Inc., Food Incorporated.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just and they took the camera into all of these different places to see what goes into the food. But and we talked about this. You brought this up, and I think it's a great point. And there's probably a ton of viewers that are like, you know what, I would love to eat healthier and organic, and but these are a lot of business owners. They're super busy lifestyles, and they've got this much time to go and stop by their grocery store and grab whatever they can, and they're on a budget. And so when you really want to eat healthy, organic, like it takes more of the time, and it takes more money. Unfortunately, it costs more to eat healthy. Is it worth it? Of course, we know it's worth it, right? But I think as people make those choices, it's not easy. It's not, it's not expensive, and it's not inexpensive, I should say, and it takes more time. But I think I love your point that you're talking about. It's like, well, you don't have to completely, change 100% of everything and go completely organic. I love the idea that you're saying, well, the ones that have the thin skins, the ones that could be most affected, you like start there, and apply your budget as necessary to get to where you need to be.
Yeah. And I'd like to add a couple things to that too. So As far as in like the expensive part, you would be surprised how much or how little extra it could be if you stop going to the grocery store and buying pre-packaged stuff. So it gets really expensive when you're buying like organic pre-made stuff and pre-made packaged stuff. If you were to do like for instance, my local grocery store has a section where you can, it's like a bin section where everything's like in bulk, and so you can bag and weigh your own like grains, you know, a lot of like organic stuff, spices even. And you know, so it's cutting the cost because you're not paying for like those expensive brand packaging. And so if we lower the amount of like, you know, frozen stuff and, you know, like pre-made dinners, you know, our bill can be a little bit less. So that helps with that as well. And then another thing I would look at too is, you know, okay, so yeah, maybe you're spending a little bit more in groceries and stuff like that, but you're also possibly cutting your medical bills. And medical bills are going to be way more than your slightly increased grocery bill.
Wow.
So,
Great point. Absolutely
yeah.
great point.
So Tim had another question. What do you feel like are the health benefits of exercise? You know, because I know we talk about, you know, changing your diet, but you still exercise is still important, right? Because like you said, if you sit all
Mhm.
day, I've actually heard that sitting is maybe one of the worst things that we can do. It's something that like
Yeah.
my wife struggles with as a court reporter. She's sitting all the time. Even when
Yeah.
she's not in a court, she's got to come home and do these transcripts. And so like, you know, like I told, you know, I'm actually at a standing desk right now. I stand when I live stream. I used to sit. I think that's made some difference. I mean, what do you see as some of those health benefits, Christina?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different benefits. You know, so obviously cardio is great for the heart and stuff like that. Weight training, people really, I feel like a lot of people underestimate weight training. Weight training is good for, it's even good for like keeping like good bone mass, good, you know, good bone density. As we age, what happens is we tend to lose that. And so there are studies that are showing that, you know, weightlifters and stuff like that have better bone density. You know, obviously it's good for having better muscle mass because we lose that as we age as well. Another important factor, and this kind of goes into diet, is when we age, we tend to lose the ability to hold on and to digest proteins very well. And so it's good to, as we age, we should start increasing protein a little bit more. That'll help with muscles. That'll help with bones. I mean, it's just a great effect for everything. It helps with your mind. People that exercise it helps with minimizing the risk for like neurological disorders and so many different things. Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's. I mean, it's so many different types of like sicknesses and diseases that we could actually potentially help minimize just by changing diet, just by adding exercise to the routine. You know, it kind of comes in like a whole package. So, I mean, there's so many different benefits, but certainly, you know, making sure that, you know, you are potentially creating a much better, healthier lifestyle as you age.
Right. And then Denise wanted to know how long does it take to break a bad diet habit like nighttime snacking? But then again, like you said, it's okay to snack at nighttime. It just might be what you're choosing as your snack.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to add to that as well is, so when we snack at night, a lot of the times, so what I've seen is that people tend to be super restrictive during the day and might not actually be getting enough protein during the day, might not be getting enough calories, nutrition in general. And so what happens at night is our bodies start to crave because we were deprived of nutrients, or basically having maybe too much of a calorie deficit during the day. And so you get to the point where your body's trying to catch up, your body's trying to, you know, get all of these nutrients and these calories that we need. But you know, as far as in like snacking and stuff like that, yeah, like we said before, you can snack at night, but pick things that are nutrient dense. So just to give you an example, this is kind of like one of the things that I've been into at night. I'll do like some non-fat Greek yogurt. I'll put in some chocolate, collagen peptides, protein powder, and then some nice cherries. not like maraschino or anything like that, but the nice cherries, like nice natural
Real cherry.
either. Yeah, real cherries, real life cherries.
Good for sleep.
Yeah,
Cherry
I
juice and
know.
cherries are good for sleep.
Yes, yes. And it's delicious. It's a delicious, filling, protein filled. It's got carbs, it's got protein. Sometimes I'll put a little almond butter, like a little, maybe a half a tablespoon if I'm, limiting my calories of almond butter, mix that up. And it's amazing. It's like delicious and it's very satisfying. And I sleep amazing at night. And I eat this at like 11:30 at night. Like, you can totally eat late at night. So do not fear that. It's all about making sure that you're not having too many calories.
You also work out like a fiend. I can attest because you work out like a fiend live and free for everyone to see. And,
Right.
Jim, I know you're driving, but those of you who are watching, make sure you go to Amazon Live and watch Christina Nietzsche. You have now 42,728 channels. Is that what it's up to now?
Yeah, you have to increase that one now.
Yeah, Christina, what is your channel on Amazon? Because people can actually take part in your workouts for free
Yes.
through Amazon. What is that channel again?
Okay, so we shortened it. We took your advice. It is ChristinaNietzsche.live. So very sweet, short, and simple.
Awesome.
See, you can say that and people will remember it, and you don't.
Yes.
You don't put up the hieroglyphics and like Jim always says, you lost me at the slash, but now it's super easy to just go to ChristinaNietzsche.live. And so the other bonus, and I thought we would see him, and no, not Mr. Moderator. I thought we would see Cairo maybe on the screen. So there's been some other questions here about where people can follow you on social media, and I know you have a huge TikTok channel, and it's Christina and Cairo, I believe, on TikTok, and it's and that's spelled Cairo.
And actually, hold on a second. It's actually Cairo dash Christina, or underscore. It's underscore. Yeah.
We'll put that in the comments later. But you're also on Instagram, Twitter, and I think Facebook goes at Christina Nietzsche. Is that correct?
Yes, on all of those. So I need to change my my TikTok actually to make it easier for everybody, I think. But
you don't want to lose all of that action that you got if you don't want to lose all the followers. And so Cairo, I need to explain, is Christina's dog, one of two pit bulls.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's just, what a great channel. You guys are really super creative with that channel. And if you're a dog lover, you'll really, really love it. And I think you do a great job, Christina, on social. I have, a hashtag goals, and that is to be able to create a TikTok channel that's as engaging as that. And obviously what you're doing on Amazon Live, no one else is doing. And right now, and so get ready for people to try and copy what Christina Nietzsche is doing, which is you're doing live bodybuilding, you're doing workouts, you're telling everybody this is what I'm doing, and you're live on Amazon, and you've got products that are in the carousel if people want to buy them, and you're talking about some of the stuff we talked about today, but also you're being more specific about particular workouts, why you're doing it. Obviously, you're an accomplished trainer, and you're just like, that's just the business that you do. You just have ported it into what you're doing on Amazon. I think you're doing a fantastic thing there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we had a question too, and I know too that you do have people that you work with, like one-on-one, and that doesn't have to be in Fort Worth, right? You'll work with people anywhere.
Yeah, in fact, I do everything remotely. So I don't do in-person training at the moment. I do everything remotely.
Right. Yeah. So Janet wanted to know, do you work with people over 60? Have they reached that?
Yes. So I work with people of all ages. The thing is that I don't have, like, my workouts and everything that I create is custom. So because I have experience with all different types of diets, all different types of ages and stuff like that, I create workouts that are specific to the individual. So, you know, and I work around like different diets and stuff like that too. So because I've been vegan before, I was vegetarian actually for 10 years. So I have experience with all types of diets and stuff like that. But yeah, all different ages, all different body types, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I put Christina's website is on the screen. That's probably the place that you can get all the info that you want. I know she's got her blog out there. You can see, you know, what great shape she's in. She's got some pictures of her out there. That's why I use the biceps for the questions because I always think of you when you're showing your biceps, and makes
Yeah.
mine feel puny. But I'll have to start. I'm gonna have to start lifting weights now because you've made me feel like a
Maybe
puny
shake
man.
weights.
Yeah, get
Yeah,
some
shake
shake
weights.
weights. So now this has been amazing, Christina. You know, I mean, the chat has been going crazy on all the different platforms. So, you know, if you get a chance, I don't know if you're on LinkedIn. We might have to get you on LinkedIn, so
I
you can
need to
go
do
out
that.
there and comment with some of these folks. And you know, but if you folks have questions, please reach out. Like I said, Christina's on. She's everywhere except for LinkedIn. She's on Amazon every day. Has and she has some great shows. It's not always just a workout show. She does a show. I think it's right now on Tuesday nights with a friend of hers, Amanda. That's another person that has
Another
gone on
great
a
show.
fitness journey, and that's a great
Hmm.
show.
Well, don't
Uh,
forget Mama Ferrano. Like she's
yeah.
got
Yes.
48,612
Yes.
shows, Jim. And
Yes.
so, you know, Mama Ferrano, that's another hot show. I like. Now is Mama Ferrano your mother or
So okay, so actually, the person that answered that asked the last question, Janet Ferraro, that's actually my mom.
Oh,
Yes, that is my mom.
Oh.
did I say Ferrano? It's Ferraro.
Yep,
It's Mama
but that's
Ferraro.
okay.
Mama, I am so sorry.
Yes, no, that's awesome. And so, Tim, we hope that you're feeling better and that you'll be back next week. And next week, our guest will be Kate Scavish. I hope I spelled that right. Took that out of the calendar as because this is one of Tim's guests, and so thank you again, Christina, for being here. Chris, thank you for stepping up and helping out as Tim wasn't available. And if you guys are interested, if you want to learn a little bit more about Amazon Live, in about half an hour, Chris and I are going to be doing a live table topic over at Agora Pulse's digital summit. And I know I've got it on my Twitter feed. If you want to check out there, had a LinkedIn post about it. You can watch for up to 30 days all these recordings. So if you're a digital agency or just want to learn more about social, another thing to do, follow Christina on social. And thank you guys so much, Christina. Thank you so much. This was awesome. We don't normally go this long, but you were just so full of bombs of wisdom, and the crowd wouldn't go away. And so thanks again. And maybe we'll have to have you back again sometime. We'll talk about some of these other topics in regards to health and fitness, because it's definitely important for business owners to think about that. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
everyone. We'll see you next time on the Tim and Jim Show.
Bye.